and welcome to Tabletop 24. I'm Alan.
I'm John. I'm Brian.
And this is our preview for Airecon X, which is celebrating its 10th year anniversary this year. A convention that started off in a flat with some friends all those 10 years ago, and is now probably the second largest convention in the UK, and actually creeping up some of the international sizes as well.
It's very, very popular. Yeah.
So let's talk about where this is held in the Harrogate Convention Centre over the weekend of the 13th to the 16th of March this year. There are some different times for some of the dates, so please be aware of that. Thursday, it starts at 4 and finishes, I believe, around 11. That's just for open gaming. And the exhibit halls and the main gaming halls are going to be open on the Saturday, Sunday and Friday. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, with slightly varying times. Everything starting at 10, the exhibit hall finishing around 6, 4 on the Sunday, and open gaming open until late on this Friday and Saturday. So lots to do, lots to see. We're going to run you through in this video, obviously, some of the bits to look out for, some of the things we've experienced in previous years. This is now our fourth year. And Airecon is one of our favourite conventions. I think I'm going to spoil it there, and say he's one of our favourites.
Yeah, love it. Yeah,
it's just such a nice convivial atmosphere, and I say it on all of these. It's just the noise, the hum of people just playing.
It's
talking. It's great.
It's a playing game convention, isn't it? It's much more focused on the playing the games and getting together, finding a table, meeting new people.
Yeah, and then speaking to the organisers, that's how they want to do it. They don't want the retail exhibit hallers to take over what is essentially that experience of playing with friends, meeting up with people that you don't see every day, and actually just enjoying that sort of game. And that's why the halls are open so late across that weekend. And I think you went down there, what was it, our second year? It was about 12:30, wasn't it, at night? And people were it was just people in the middle of the games and really cracking on with what they were doing. It was like, and this is 12:30 at night. You're like, people should be like getting to bed by now.
But you know what it's like. You're playing a game and you just don't want to stop. You want to carry on, just another game, just one more time, and that's what it almost gets that. And you think, well, I can play till 1:30 in the morning here. I'm a dad. I'm here. You know, I've got no curfew or anything. I can keep playing. And you know, you do see people, and they're like zombies the next day at 10 o'clock going in again. And some people leave their games out overnight if they're halfway through, and they'll go back in and pick them up in the morning. So from that point of view, it's just it's superb, brilliant.
Yeah.
So one of the things to obviously draw attention to is the sponsors of the event. So Traveller Man is one of the main sponsors of the event, who provide the game library, which we'll get onto a little bit later. But also, Airecon always sponsors some really great charities. This year, they are using Campaign Against Living Miserably and also supporting Candlelighters, which are two great charities.
Yeah.
Every year they change it up a little bit, and obviously, they do a few different things that raise money over the course of that weekend. There'll be some bits that we'll get into later, like the charity raffle, and also some donations of games, some of the stuff that the portion of the Bring and Buy goes towards it, and there's all different bits that go towards that raising funds. And they've raised over £40,000 in their 10 years for charity, which is fantastic. And what we need to say is that Aircons of past are not the size of Airecon now. And I think that charity raffle last year, and I'm possibly going to get this wrong, raised somewhere in the region of about £12,000. So that was last year out of 40.
Yeah.
So it just shows you on how much they're going to probably raise this year. And I know they're going to want to be hitting those big numbers going into that. So
but you win a table full of games. You don't just win one or two games. You win a table, as to our knowledge, you win a table.
Yeah, if you go in for the raffle, be prepared to win and take it all home. So if you come on the train, you might struggle a little bit getting it back.
You have to take it away there and then. And it's not a small amount of prizes.
Yeah. So the charity raffle that is on there, we'll skip into this now, it's probably one of the, I say, oddest raffles that I've seen.
Yeah,
but also
like it,
one of the, probably the easiest way and most successful way to do it. Over the course of the last year, Airecon have been donated a number of charity prizes from different retailers, different publishers, content creators, and everybody in between. And over the course of that year, they will put all that together. And then when it comes to the Airecon weekend, they will do a raffle for it. Now, they will bundle a load of those prizes up onto one lot, one table. And typically there's been between 6 and 8 tables worth. you go and buy a raffle ticket, as many as obviously you like, and you then put those tickets in a bucket next to the table or lot that you want to win, and you are then in a chance to win that one lot. And like the guys have said, if you win the whole lot of that table, which it's not a small amount of games. And I think we were very lucky last year. We went in all on one table, first time we've done that, and we managed to come away with the table that we were bagging on. And I think there's somewhere in the region of about 35, 40 games.
Yeah, and there's 8 tables.
Yeah. So
you think there's 400 prizes, and if they did it one ticket, one prize, they'd be doing it all weekend. So.
Yeah.
Indeed,
probably the best way to do it. But yeah, it's an impressive array of prizes.
Yeah, and we know some of those that did win last year that they were like, I've got to get this back on a train.
Yeah.
So if you do enter it, be prepared that you have got to take it away on the day. So be prepared that you've got to find a way for it to get home with you. But there are some great games in there. They do mix it up a little bit with what's on what table and sort of themes around some of the tables. So you can kind of gravitate towards what you're.
Yeah, and you get to see them all before you obviously draw, so you can pick the games that you like the best. And
it was quite funny. It was just like, no, they're going. It was like, what? Yeah, get rid of them. You got to take them. So, right, okay.
Yeah, so we were incredibly lucky last year. And I think everybody that has ever won one of these is just outstanding with how many games are on there and how
the generosity of the publishers and people to give the prices is you can't fault it. So thank for them for the money it raises for some great charities.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here. Every bit of those tickets goes in towards that charity pot, which just again supports some great charities. And so thanks to those publishers, thanks to those retailers that do donate to that. I think it's really, really well worthwhile. So other things that you can experience over the weekend, and whilst we mention retailers, let's talk about some of them. There's going to be some exhibitors there, some familiar faces, some people that we do get to talk to quite a bit. So it wouldn't be an Airecon now without Hachette, would it?
No.
So Oink can be there.
So
now part of
Hachette last year had Far and Away. Which was an exclusive, and they brought that first time there. They had some other things that they were demoing which weren't released yet. So it's always nice to catch up with them and see what they bring with them. They have Oink with them, don't they, now? They share the space, so Oink always bring new exciting stuff. But I'm determined if they bring that collapsible table, that's coming home with me.
So this is going to be some of the other people there, such as Patriot Games. I know are going to be there, so you actually get some retail stuff if you want some extra bits there. There are obviously we should see some stuff from Travelling Man as well.
Yeah.
And you're going to have some of the bigger publishers like Asmodee are going to be there with some demo stalls. Ravensburger will be there again this year.
Yeah.
They were there doing some Lorcana stuff last year, which I know there was a lot of people that were quite happy to get their hands on some promos that they were giving out.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether they're going to have promos again this year, but I imagine they'll have something.
My kids went home with a Lorcana deck each.
But there's a big long list on the website as well. If you check that out.
Over 100 different exhibitors. And like I say, we said this already, it's not about the retail, but there's just enough retail experience there that you will end up coming back with a few games. You will end up coming back with a few niceties. There's a lot of vendors there that sell adjacent items.
Artwork, dice, minis, self-published little titles that are always worth picking up. The role-playing game supplements, things like that you would normally find. Or the problem with the internet is you can't browse. You can't go into a bookshop and look along. You find what you want and you generally buy it. And it's just a good chance to browse and look at different things.
Lots of tools to the publishers as well. See what they say about it. See what's coming up as well.
Yeah, and we're not going to short sell this. Airecon is going to be very busy, but it does always feel like you actually have a chance to stand and talk to people, whereas bigger conventions, and I'm going to say UKGE, whilst is another great convention here in the UK, and I know we always go to it, it always does feel a bit busy. It always feels a bit more of a meat machine, doesn't it, going through it. And whereas with Airecon, it's more of very much a community atmosphere where you see the people, see the publishers that have been there year in year, and you do get to build those relationships with them and have those chats where you might not at a bigger convention because it's just so busy.
The thing is saying about the people, it is the people. We made friends the first time we went that we still see every year.
Yeah.
Hagar. So and it's nice to see and catch up with those people and sit down and chat and see what they've been doing and what they're playing and what it's about, and it is about that people connection. it is making, so when you're there, say hello to people, sit down, look for a game, look for those lightsabers, will come onto them, and play a game with somebody you might not normally play with.
So let's go a little bit adjacent to that is obviously the demo area and the playtest zone. So they do have a small playtest zone and a slightly bigger demo area now, where publishers will bring their games to demo, some of which are bookable. So do check out that on the website. I'm going to post a number of links in the description below that will take you to some various pages, and John's going to make me do it. So we've got that to look forward to. But do check out some of those that you may want to get booked in on. We've seen previously that there have been unannounced high-profile games that have seen their very first demos. We've seen some crowdfunding games that have been launched at Airecon, or at least their first pre-campaign demos have taken place, which we've been lucky enough to go into as well. But they are there, so get yourself booked onto those. Jump along into the playtest zone, help develop a game that's going to come out in the future, and be a part of that experience.
Give some feedback.
Which is always really valuable. And I know a lot of the publishers there do value that feedback, and a lot of it does make its way into the
finished games.
Exactly. So, demo is not your fancy, playtest not your fancy. Let's talk about the actual meat, and that's games. And we've said this all the way along. It's getting time to play games. A lot of people, week in, week out, don't get the chance to maybe play games. I know we haven't. That's why you've not seen us for a while. So it's really nice to have that dedicated time. It's that dedicated time to play these games. So there's a number of things that are going to benefit you to do this. So one of the main things, and it's one of the things I really like about Airecon, is they have this game system. Okay, in this game system, there's a number of things which we're going to go through now. But one of the first things that's on there is bookable games. So you can list a game on there that you are looking to play at a time, at a rough location, and list how many players and how many slots you have available. People can come and sign up to that, so you end up having a full play of a game.
Yeah.
And I know a number of people that use it to go, there's this game, I'm never going to play it, but at a convention I can, and there's other people there that want to play this game that maybe you don't.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like...
Not in your wheelhouse, not in your club, your friend group's collection.
Yeah, I'd really like to give a go of this game. And I know a lot of people do it with particularly larger games.
The bigger games you don't normally get 4 hours to play with.
But obviously some people do it for some of the small ones that they just might be a little bit niche and might not, or they might just be their favourite game and they just want to get it played. I know you didn't do it through the game system, but there was that one time where you had Wandering Towers and you was literally just setting it up and everybody was coming along playing it.
So that's the thing. If you, they have a system by where they have lightsabers. You put them at the end of the table and people want to pass. Oh, I fancy playing that, and you'll sit down and play with people. They look for people to play, and I did that with Wandering Towers. And the same way, you have people who have stickers saying, looking for a game. And if they're walking past, invite them to play.
So if you don't want to be that official, regimented, I've got to be here for this game, and I need to be there for that game, and not leaving yourself enough time in between some of the stuff. And just be a little bit more relaxed. You've got the lightsaber option, you've got the stickers option, and you can really get involved with anybody type thing.
So most people are really happy to talk about the game that they're playing if you just go past the table and see something interesting. What's that about?
The other part of another thing of the game app system, G to the A to the M to the E. Does it stand for anything? Okay. The library of games. Yes. So there's a library of about 1,000 games, I believe it is, and you can book games or reserve them in there. So when they come in, if somebody's got them loaned out, it will let you know it's available, and you can book them out and play them.
Yeah, the library there is obviously sponsored and provided by Travelling Man. Thousands of games. Literally, there's always something for everybody.
Yeah.
I will say, obviously, on the Thursday night, you tend to find some of the copies. The hot games are not there. But you might stumble across some games that you might not quite tried and want to give a go, and other things that we know, we got Comic Hunters that first year.
That got
put in there.
Great game.
And we fell in love with that game at that point. There's other things in there, and like John said, if it's out on the library, you can put it into the game system to notify you when that's returned. Now, still first come first serve, and please be polite. No bashing and barging and getting to the front of the queue, but it will notify you, and you can go pick it up. And one of the things is you can also take some of those games out overnight on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Normally there's a deposit for it, but the actual rentals are free, and you get your deposit back at the end of the weekend. So it's very much worthwhile. I would say even if you go and play one game, just having the option to play something different that you've not brought with you, and try something new, and you might find somebody that wants to play along with you.
Yeah. Also, when you're browsing, if some people are looking, recommend a game. So, have you played that? It's good. Have you played that's good? Because they might not know what they're looking for. They're just browsing. They're looking. They might want a heavy Euro. They might just want a light part game. Just recommend them. They might look at you like you're a weirdo and walk off and take no notice of you. It's happened to me plenty of times. But it's that conviviality. It's being friendly, and that's what it's all about.
And coming back to your point is, like, when you are looking at games on a shelf, sometimes it's quite difficult to see what that game's going to be about.
Yeah.
And what that's going to be into, and actually having somebody recommend, or even asking the question. Like, there's plenty of knowledgeable people around there that will sort of help. If you like, what does this play like? You ask, and obviously there's some really great volunteers, and we'll get a bit more onto them a little bit later, but there's some really great volunteers that have an abundance of knowledge for all of these games, and they'll be quite happy to tell you. So that's the second part of the game system. One of the final parts of the game system is the bring and buy, and I think it's probably one of the best bring and buys that's functionally.
It's the best that I've taken part in.
Yeah, and so you can pre-log all of your games in the bring and buy via the game system, which is live now, by the way. The library and games for sale will go live when you get to the event, but at the moment you can log in and start preloading all your games to sell at the bring and buy, and you'll set your price, and when you get to Airecon you can go to the bring and buy drop off. They will then print you a load of labels, one for each game, stick the low tack labels on the box and drop them off to the helpful volunteers. They put it into the bring and buy, and then you can check as you go through the weekend when your games are sold.
Money.
And it comes a bit of a game between us.
How many you sold?
Competitive game selling.
Yeah.
There's a game in there.
There's a game in everything, isn't there? So, but you can check as you go through. So, if you are running low on funds over that weekend, you can cash out what you've got so far.
But there are bargains to be had in
there as well. Yeah, find things in there that you've been looking for years.
Yeah. I think if you don't sell them all, you can pick them up and you can take them away, or if you leave them, they get donated to charity for the next year. And I think I went to get the money that I'd made last year and pick up the ones I hadn't sold, and bought 2 games. It was the last knockings that I was like, there was a copy of the Rogue Trooper game. I thought, I'm having that. Do you know, it was just happenstance.
Yeah.
But always good bring and buy. Always busy.
One thing about the bring and buy is cash only, so be prepared to bring cash. That's obviously because they have to pay that out to people. If you are putting games into the bring and buy, there is a small fee. I mentioned it earlier. I believe it's about 10%. Sale something like that. It's up to a certain value, and so bear that in mind as well, the prices that you are putting these on, and obviously bear in mind that the price that you're paying for these. But like I say, that does go to run the bring and buy and also to support these great charities. So
it's always busy. It's in a little side room, and there's always a queue of people to get in there. Always.
Yeah, and it is great, and it's really, really well run. You can obviously see how much you've sold. You can see where your games have gone, and as John said, you can take them all back out. You can also take them out and reprice them.
Yeah, if not selling, or you see that everything else has been there, a bit lower than you set it. You can,
and you can also see that potentially there's like 5 copies of the game that you've bought because it might be a popular one. So you can also see what other price people are putting. I'm not saying do it to undercut, but you can put there's almost a market price then for some of them.
Exactly.
But what I would say is just be mindful, because you have to, in order to reprice, you have to go back into the bring and buy, find your game, take that to the counter, get it repriced, and then put it back out. That's a lot of time potentially if you've got a lot of games. So really think about the price that you're putting that in.
We've seen people with pallet loads of games going in there. Literally. It's for higher pallet loads.
And like I say, it's a really good opportunity to pick up some of those bargains, particularly, like I say, if you're going to price it to sell. People are not going to want to bring pallet loads of games back unless they're purchasing new ones. So you do want to sort of price it to sell. We always price ours to sell. Maybe a bit foolish to a degree, but it's very rare that we come back with more than 2 or 3 out of 20 odd games, isn't it? So it is quite useful.
First year we went, I bought a copy of Keyflower that remained unplayed, and I sold it last year. As you do.
So one of the things, obviously, to mention about the overall room, we've mentioned about getting those games to the table, is the sort of venue itself. I'm going to take this time to hopefully put up a graphic of the venue, probably a little bit later in the video than we should be, but it's about where things are going to be. Like I say, yeah, there's loads of playing areas in there, and some of the things that they're putting in this year, bookable social games rooms. Now, obviously, that title is social games rooms, so you can book it for whatever you see fit. But I'm thinking about things like Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yeah, two rooms and a boom, things like that. Yeah, those sort of things.
Some of those bigger games. Obviously, there are role playing games that are set up for the weekend. So check those out. They are bookable, so you can go on and join one of those. I think typically we've not taken part in those, but I think typically they're very well set out as to what the content's going to be, what the sort of themes are going to be. Obviously, one of the key things with a role-playing game is being comfortable with that area that you're going into.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're not going into something that may expose you to something you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I think the DMs do a fantastic job when they do these events, just to make sure that the theme's on point for the audience and they stick to those themes, which I think is really, really, really strong. So there's a lot of play space. We've kind of done that.
There's a huge amount of play space. It's kind of mind-boggling when you actually think about walking through it. How many tables there actually are?
Quiet rooms now and rooms for small kids and
there's family area. There's also the accessibility. There's sort of like Brian says, there's quiet gaming areas for people who might not like loud noises or busy environments.
Food.
So, but how have we got this far in without talking about food? I think we're missing all the important things in this one, aren't we? Yeah. But yeah, food.
So there's usually loads of trucks out back that a whole range of different types of takeaway food that you can get.
Korean chicken, pizzas, Greek,
souvlaki's,
potatoes, poutine. What else is there?
Wrap. What they call the pancake things.
Oh yeah,
crepes. That's it.
Yeah, sandwiches.
You won't get hungry.
No. And there was obviously the main events food as well. That I think we may see the event hall food open again. But if not, there are tea and coffee vendors around the hall as well.
Yeah. So there's sandwiches, there's crisps, there's chocolate, there's fruit.
Yeah. And there's a small tuck shop that is run by Airecon for some other items that you might not find at any of those other vendors. Run at a really reasonable price. Obviously, be careful with that because they do tend to run out sometimes because just demand is so high, and it's quite difficult if they're having to pre-purchase some of that stuff. So just be wary.
You can take your own snacks and drinks in.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
it's not restricted in any way. So
keep hydrated.
Yeah. Stock up on Jaffa cakes.
So you obviously got access to pretty much everything there. I know that they cover a sort of a wide variety of dietary requirements as well.
There's water fountains. There's water readily available.
So pick that up there. Also on the food, it would be very remiss of us not to mention the Airecon mugs. Now, these are pre-bookable. I think the window for the pre-book's now closed, so unfortunately we're a bit late for that. There will be normally a small number available on the day, but they do tend to run out quite fast. These are typically for a nominal, I say nominal fee. I think I don't know what the price point will be this year, but we paid sort of £10-12.
You get like money off coffees.
You get a pound off of each hot drink that you then tea or coffee that you then purchase throughout the weekend. So if you're a big tea drinker or a big coffee drinker, it can work out in your favour, and you get a nice commemorative mug to take home with you. And whilst we're on the topic of commemorative stuff, there are some great T-shirts. Again, a lot of those will have been pre-ordered, so they may still have some stock.
I bought one last year. I'll buy one again this year.
Yeah. And they do have stock from previous years as well. So some of the things that have been a little bit left over. So if you might not have this year, you might get a year back or so for that. So it's always nice to see that. And there's always some good designs that come out of that, which is great. But gaming's not all you can do. When I say gaming's not all you can do, the last bit of gaming that you can do is tournaments. So there are some great tournaments that are held every year. This year, I think they've got things like Scouts, Crokinole, Hive. We've seen Class previously, Sumo. Again, get booked in on the website for those. But then the non-game things. So we've increasingly gone to a few more of these over the last few years, and they're events. So there are a sort of a different sort of thing. It's like more entertainment sort of thing. And now that the convention has expanded into the Royal Hall at the convention centre.
That's posh, by the way.
Which is really nice. It's a nice sort of theatre environment. It really gives the chance to sort of sell the entertainment value. Whereas sometimes in a convention centre, in a little hall or something like that, you just don't get the same grandeur that you do from a stage performance.
Yes.
Even though the people that are putting on those performances are great and the performance itself is great, you get a little bit more with the theatre, don't you? It's a little bit more pizzazz. Show
Ambiance.
Yeah.
There's more gilding in that place than I've ever seen in my life.
It is proper fantastic in there. So we are going to see a number of acts that are returning. Some people that may
Jolly Boat are there again. They're superb pirate rock. They're good. There's a character building thing which I believe is D&D themed, like event around rolling up characters that I wouldn't mind going to. But they also have seminars. So aside from the entertainment and that side, there's serious stuff they talk about. So this year there's talks on everything between why we like games with cuddly animals in to sort of post-apocalyptic like scenarios and gaming and stuff. So and everything in between. So whatever floats your boat, there'll be something for you to go to.
Yeah. So if you want to look at more of the theory craft behind games and the games industry, and there's normally some really great speakers at those seminars.
There's a history of dice. Put me down for that.
Philosophy of gaming.
Yeah. Put me down for a history of dice.
So,
Oxventure are there as well, so that'd be interesting to see. Big fan of them.
Yeah, and book them because they do sell out.
They will sell out,
limited seats, so they do sell out.
Yeah.
So
I think some are part of entry, and some do have a ticket cost to them. So just be careful which ones you're looking at, and make sure that you obviously go to the designated place at the designated time.
Details on the website.
Yes, which again links in the description below. I think we've gone through pretty much everything that's sort of in the convention itself.
Wear comfortable shoes.
Yes.
Be prepared to walk around a bit.
wear comfortable clothing because if you're going to be in there from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning, you're going to want to be, but no pajamas, please.
No pajamas.
Be comfortable.
Make sure you wash. Deodorant.
Yeah. And what we're saying about all the events and stuff, don't plan too much because there's because you want to play games and you want to see different bits, but you do have to book and you do have to plan where you're going to be at certain times. So
don't overload yourself. We've mentioned this all the way through. It's a playing convention. Relax, play, enjoy. Go to some of these things. Don't try and fit everything. Now that's not saying you can't and you shouldn't. But just relax with it. Go with the flow of the weekend. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. Everybody from the top down is very relaxed over that weekend. I mean, Mark might not be, but
Mark gets more relaxed as the weekend goes on.
and so he should. But it's a really nice, relaxed atmosphere.
Convivial.
And if the convention isn't meeting your expectations, and I can't see for a reason why it wouldn't, but Harrogate's a lovely town.
Yeah.
There's some really nice picturesque things to do. There's things outside of the convention that are semi-related. Like I know a group always do the park run on the Saturday. There's a few other events on and around Harrogate itself. There are a couple of game shops that are local as well to go and try out. There's obviously the tea rooms if you're so inclined. There's some really nice eateries around. So it does have quite a lot, even if you're not want to be in the game atmosphere for the whole weekend type thing, you can step out. And it's a short train ride to York as well. So maybe on a day you want to take a day trip and you can go there. But
take a partner. They can go to York. You can play board games.
So we've got that, and this would be very short-sighted of us not to mention the great volunteers that Airecon has. And we all typically close out a lot of these videos about talking to them. They have a number of volunteers that give up their time over the course of that weekend to produce some fantastic knowledge, support, and help to make this convention what it is. Most of them are running around in I think we yellow shirts.
T-shirts
last year. And they will help with just giving you directions, pointing out games. We've got the game gurus that will be on hand as well, that will be able to teach games and show you and point you in the right direction for certain games as well. But the crew, top to bottom, from ticketing, bring them by, just helping out, running the tuck shop, the event, the merchandise, all of that sort of stuff, and making sure these events run on time. It's just a massive sort of thank you to those people.
They donate their time to make these things a success, and every year it just grows and becomes even more of a success. You know, it's just like a stone going down a hill. It's just going to gather more moss and keep going because of the people who put in their time.
Yeah. So, like I say, if that sounds like something you're interested in, that is the 13th to the 16th of March at the Harrogate Convention Centre.
But I'd say if you've got to this point in the video, you'll be going anyway. So we'll see you there.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Say hello.
What we will say at this point, though, is tickets are selling fast. There was, I believe, 1 or 2 days that did sell out last year over the weekend. So be mindful of that if we are getting to this point. I know we're a bit late probably launching this video, but make sure that you've got your tickets.
I remember the Saturday last year, kind of playing a game and sort of like getting up to get some food or go to the toilet or something, and then just realising how busy it actually was and how many people were in there.
But and that's one thing we will say though. Although we keep saying, "Oh, it's busy, it's big," there's lots of people. It never quite feels like that.
No,
you can always get to where you want to be. There's always a table for you, and the tables are spaced accordingly that you never feel on top of anybody.
Yeah.
So I think
it's wonderful.
all in all, one of our favourite conventions, and we'll wait to see whether that changes this year, but I doubt it for a very long shot.
Might take the slippers this year.
But thank you for watching along with this video. Do check out some of the other videos that we have done previously. We will have a follow-up, catch-up once we've closed out the convention a few weeks after that. So stay tuned for that. Give us a like, give us a subscribe to see that content coming out in the future. Take care.
Bye.